Is it that Azimio leaders have nothing else to say? They really don't have anything important to say. So much so that they've come out and issued a strange statement. Several leading lights within Azimio are saying that there are enough grounds to impeach President William Samoei Ruto. Hey! Now, what is wrong with that? What are you saying, Chris? I can hear somebody asking. Are there not enough grounds to impeach Ruto? Iko mingi, tena mingi sana. Of course there are grounds to impeach Ruto. Very many of them. So, what is the problem? Actually, this is the problem most analysts have. And that is why most of them are ignoring this. I'm not. The problem is, nobody thinks that is realistic. Okay? Because you need a 2/3 majority in both houses to successfully impeach a president. You see the way democracy works. It is not the crimes of the president, perceived or not. The issue is, it all comes down to numbers. And Azimio do not have the numbers. That is the view of most Kenyans. However, I have a different view. And for starters, the timing of this is deadly. And that one should be rather obvious. Because this presidency is at its most vulnerable ever. Number two, right now, a successful impeachment is not the only thing that can damage Ruto. Okay? Even starting the process successfully will do too much damage. And that is why, in my opinion, serious analysts of Kenyan politics should not ignore this one. No. They should pay very careful attention to it. The other reasons why this latest Azimio offensive is not madness, and I believe this is the main objective of Azimio in coming out very strongly and saying that there are grounds to impeach Ruto, and even going beyond that and announcing that Parliament should seriously get down to work, getting the process off the ground to impeach President Ruto and remove him from office. And I believe this reason is the main objective of Azimio. It is what they want to do. Yeah, and I'll come back to that shortly. You know, it is a good idea to remind ourselves that the nature of this life is that things change, circumstances change, and many times they change so quickly that we are caught completely off guard, and in the end we are left shaking our heads and asking ourselves, Allah, what happened here? I don't understand. And it happens in life out there, and it also happens especially in politics. Vindu vichenjanga. Circumstances too often conspire to completely change the outcome, as we had previously expected it. Indeed, many of us are products of the unexpected. Shall I just put it in a Kenyan way? Many of us are products of Allah. In other words, we were born in circumstances where things changed suddenly. A man somewhere was madly in love with this lass and was very keen to marry her. But her response? In your wildest dreams. Me and you, That can never happen. Never ever. Obviously, the man did not have the 2/3 majority necessary. And then somebody breaks this woman's heart. And it is so serious that she sits in her house for several days, crying. And finally she wipes her tears away and decides she will move on. And then suddenly they find they have a problem. That part of the month that comes for them like clockwork is suddenly missing. And they realize that they are no longer alone in this problem. They are pregnant with you. Yes, you who is taking in this video. And they have to think very fast, even though they are sad. And so this smitten guy, who had been told, never ever, in your wildest dreams, receives a call. Ulikuwa nasema nini? Of course, many times, it will not come that directly. I was just calling you to see how you're getting on. How are you? Yes, I think we can meet. And then, the impossible happens. And of course, the wedding is rushed. And then barely 9 months after that wedding, you arrive, a bouncing baby boy, new to this world. And of course we all know, men are not very good at these calculations. And it has nothing to do with their ability at mathematics. Anyway, it is not a secret that in Kenyan politics right now, a lot has changed. Too much has changed. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is at war. And he has legislators on his side. That is not a secret. And this problem that Bwana Gachagua has with his boss has roped in the communities. And although we are still getting statements telling us, lying to us, there is no problem. There is no problem between Ruto and Gachagua. They are okay. But meanwhile, the latest is that there are some people who are very busy trying to reconcile the two. But there's no problem. What are they reconciling? We also know that we have many young legislators from both sides of the political divide, by the way, who are saying it is now our turn. This older generation have let us down. We have an opportunity here to kick out the baby boomers. Oh yes, in case you didn't notice, we have very many young people in both houses, in the National Assembly and also in the Senate. We have some very interesting WhatsApp groups and some very interesting discussions going on even as we speak. And then we have the voters who are now very restless. And we have a situation in our country today where if you belong to the ruling UDA Kenya Kwanza coalition, an impromptu meet the people tour, impromptu speeches at a roadside somewhere in our country are now impossible. Can't work, will not work. And I'm sure I don't need to remind you that politicians are first and foremost opportunists anywhere in the world. And therefore many have sensed that this ship called Kenya Kwanza is sinking, slowly but surely. And these politicians know very well that if they pick their side early, they could gain enormous political capital that will get them elected, pop, just like that, in the next election. Remember, at Limuru 3, we had UDA politicians in attendance. I know some of us may have forgotten. And therefore, putting all those factors together, impeaching Ruto is not a wild dream. It's not. And even starting the process, which we have already said is going to be very damaging, starting the process is not that difficult. Because our constitution says any member of parliament who has support of at least a third of the house can launch impeachment proceedings against the president of Kenya. That's what it says. What else does the constitution say about impeaching a president? Well, the next step would be to get a 2/3 majority in support of that impeachment. And then it will go to the Senate. And once the Senate also gets a 2/3 majority, that president is out of office. But I need to emphasize, it does not even need to get there. It just needs to start, and the Ruto presidency will be in very serious trouble. Even if it starts and is defeated in the National Assembly, it doesn't matter. Because already that will have changed everything. Finance Bill 2024, for instance, will be kwisha maneno. Because one of the things that will happen then is that the Ruto presidency will have shifted to survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, Finance Bill 2024 will be the last thing on your mind. Yes, you need the revenue desperately for your next extravagant expenditure. Yes, you need those taxes. But now, suddenly, you have to survive fast. Because you can't spend that money when you're out of office. That is the reality. And you know every little thing has its consequences. And so one of the things that will happen is that the government will be in a deeper financial crisis than it is right now. And this is all happening in an environment where strikes, industrial action, is becoming very fashionable. The doctors were at it the other day. The nurses are doing press-ups, for one, as we speak. Junior high school teachers are protesting. And you can be sure there are many, many others coming. Just how much punishment can a presidency take and still survive? That is the question we should ask ourselves. Bottom line, I don't think Azimio envisage a successful impeachment. No. All they envisage is what starting the process will trigger. And there's another important question we need to ask ourselves. Just how much punishment can a powerful Western nation take in a foreign country where they're trying to get things done? Well, keen students of history know that once upon a time there was a Shah in Iran who ruled the country with an iron fist and with full support from a powerful Western nation. And I'm sure at the time people were talking exactly the way they're talking now. I'm sure they were saying, remove the powerful Shah with all that backing he has from a powerful Western country? Impossible. Not in your wildest dreams. Will never happen. Wacha ndoto za mchana. Well, what happened? Please tell me, what happened in the end? Hey, Windu vichenjanga, and sometimes they change so fast that you don't see until it is too late. One does not need to be a genius to see very clearly that no matter how powerful some people think they are, no matter how powerful some nations think they are. Hey, where the nation of Kenya has reached today, something has to give. Yeah, and that something will have to give very soon. Either way, something is going to happen. And by the way, at the end of the day, the politics is always local. And that local politics will always end up overwhelming national and international politics. Inevitably, that is where it all ends up. Always. History tells us so. And talking about history, I still have a few slots left for my very latest special report, Moto Kuliko Pasi ya Makaa, that actually rewrites Kenyan history. Yeah. When one looks at the latest developments, especially those linked to the recent trip by President Ruto to the land of Uncle Sam, a special report packed with so much highly sensitive information that my strong recommendation is that when you receive it, please save it on your computer, because you may put it aside as you work, planning to come back to it later, and then when you return, boof, it's gone. I'm sure you know what I mean. Please use the details you see on your screens right now. For only Kenya shillings 4,999 or $38, you can quickly grab the few slots left and get this valuable information that will bring you a lot of clarity on what is happening in our dear motherland right now, and more importantly, what may happen very shortly. Please act now to avoid disappointment. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.